Here are the third-year playoff stats for two NBA players. One player is Michael Jordan, and the other is Anthony Edwards. Both players are eerily identical in numbers, almost as if they are the same player. For decades, we have wondered who will be the next Michael Jordan. What would he look like? Would he wear an armband like Jordan? Would he also be freakishly athletic? Would him and Jordan have the same celebrations? What would it take to be the next Michael Jordan?
When I think about Anthony Edwards, in this moment in time, ladies and gentlemen, I think about MJ, Kobe, Anthony Edwards.
And I reached out to the GOAT himself, yes, MJ, today via text, and he told me he does indeed see the similarities in his game and Anthony Edwards' game.
I have a confession to make. I hate when NBA media deems someone the next Jordan or the next KD. It's annoying, and most of the times I feel like it's a reach. But when I began researching this video, I could not stop myself from saying, wow, this guy is just like Michael Jordan. I mean, just look at this dunk. This is prime Michael Jordan. The athleticism and the finishing around the rim is very Jordan-esque. His love for the game, his competitive spirit is just like Jordan. Everything, even down to the trash talking that he does on the court. He just swept 3 future Hall of Famers and was doing this celebration in Game 4. The performance he had against the Phoenix Suns was nothing less than spectacular. On one end of the court, he guarded KD, his favorite player and the toughest guy on that team. And then on the other side of the court, he was virtually unguardable. He has scored 33 or more points in 4 games this postseason, dropping 40 points in a Game 4 victory against the Suns and 43 points against the Nuggets in Game 1 of the semifinals. And is now the franchise leader in 30-point playoff games for the Timberwolves, and is the only player other than Kobe Bryant to have multiple back-to-back 40-point games in the playoffs at the age 22 or younger. And the most impressive part of this playoff run that Ant is on is that he has completely taken over these fourth quarters, averaging 10.8 points on 84% true shooting in the fourth quarter. Absolutely disgusting numbers, which has only furthered the Michael Jordan comparisons as he's become a true killer, much like Mike. But where I would say Ant resembles Jordan more than anywhere else on the court is in his mid-range game. The mid-range shot is a lost art in today's NBA. Due to the increase of analytics, players are opting to take more three-pointers or go to the rim rather than settle for a mid-range shot. Look at this shot chart of the top 300 shots locations in the NBA in the 2003-2004 season. You see a variety of shots, from layups to mid-range to some three-pointers. And now look at this season's shot chart. It's almost as if the NBA has banned players from taking mid-range shots, as it has almost completely left the game. It's actually insane when you really look at it. Every year, there are less and less mid-range shots taken. The argument is that the mid-range shot is the worst shot in basketball, because you are essentially taking a jump shot for the same amount of points as a layup. And if you took a couple steps back, you could shoot a three-pointer, which gives your team more points. On paper, that sounds extremely smart. Of course, if I'm going to go for 2, I might as well hit a layup, and if not, I'm going to shoot a jumper, I might as well shoot a 3. But let me let you guys in on a little secret. The people that make these analytics and say these things, they don't actually play basketball. And I'm not saying that they're wrong or they're dumb or anything like that. Their analytics make sense, and in hindsight, I get why they did it. But there's also a reason why every elite scorer in NBA history is a 3-level scorer. The 3rd level is crucial when it comes to being versatile on the offensive end. KD has always had a great mid-range game that he can make at any time. LeBron has developed a mid-range later in his career. Kobe was a monster in the post fades. And of course, Michael Jordan, who was arguably the greatest mid-range shooter of all time. These are true 3-level scorers, a level that Anthony Edwards has just hit. This year, Ant has attempted more pull-up middies per game than all but 4 players. And this is what Ant had to say about his mid-range shooting. That's all I work on, man. I mean, I work on my trade ball too, but most of the time I'm working on my mid-range. Like if I'm in the gym with my friends or my brother, we're working on mid-range. Cause in the fourth quarter, you can't always get to the paint and they're going to run you off the 3-point line. So you have to have an in-between game. this is especially true in the playoffs when the game slows down and becomes more physical. Teams make it harder to score the ball, and you need that in-between game to open up your offense. It was the difference maker for Ant and the Timberwolves in their first round victory over the Phoenix Suns. Because he is so explosive getting to the rim, it opens up his mid-range game. Like on this play right here, as soon as Ant makes a move towards the rim, two Suns players are there to show help. But instead of forcing a tough layup, he stops on a dime and hits a tough mid-range shot over Kevin Durant. This next play I absolutely love. It shows the growth in Ant's game. He comes off the screen and has enough patience to see if Nurkic wants to commit to him or not, and then settles for a nice mid-range pull-up. And of course, we can't talk about Jordan and Ant comparisons without showing a signature Jordan fadeaway. But the mid-range has done more than just open up Ant's scoring ability. It has also helped him improve the worst part in his game, which is his playmaking. The past 2 years, Ant had 113 total assists on 134 turnovers when he drove to the rim, which is the worst ratio of any player in the league that has a high volume of drives. But with his newfound mid-range shot, his playmaking is no longer an issue. Here you see Ant able to get into the teeth of the defense and have the patience to make the right read. On this next play, you see what an increased mid-range shooting has done for him, as the attention is now drawn on him, with Keldon Johnson is forced to help up, allowing Ant to make a nice bounce pass to Rudy Gobert. The in-between game has completely opened up Ant's game, much like it did for Michael Jordan. But like I said, I don't want to spend my whole time just comparing Ant to Jordan. Let's just talk about the state of the league and what Ant's playoff run really means. Right now, we are in a transitional period in the NBA, where LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry are all out the playoffs for the first time since 2005.
The summer that we remember, the spring that we remember, as the changing of an era. The three men you see on your screen, who are the defining players of their generation, won a combined total of one playoff game this postseason. Steph didn't even make it. KD got swept. LeBron won one game. It'll be the first time since 2005 that none of the three of them aren't in the second round.
With the three guys who have essentially carried the NBA for the past decade, now old and on their way out, everyone is looking to the young guys. Who's going to be the next face of the league? But let me stop there. I feel like face of the league is a term that gets so casually thrown around in basketball conversations without anyone ever saying what it is. Essentially, the face of the league isn't necessarily the best player in the league. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA, but nowhere near the face of the league. The face of the league is the player that the league is going to market. The guy who's going to be on national television every night, and the guy who's going to be mentioned on every First Take show regardless of what time of year it is. This is the player that's most recognizable to a casual basketball fan or person who barely watches basketball. He must be great, preferably the best player in the world, but he also must have a big personality and easy to market. But most importantly, he must want the spotlight. Some former face of the leagues are legends like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, or Magic Johnson. Now, there's been a consistent debate about who's going to be the next face of the league. Will it be Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, or Victor Wembanyama? But if the last week or so has shown us anything, it's that Anthony Edwards might be above all of these guys. He is by far the most entertaining player to watch in the NBA besides Ja Morant. I mean, just look at what he did to John Collins in this game. This type of playstyle, along with the personality that he brought into the league, it's really hard not to like Ant.
With 4th, 5th hitter, you know what that means.
Clean up, yeah.
Straight clean up on aisle 3. Come get it.
He has just the right blend of confidence and competitiveness. Back in the day, that's all you really would need to be the face of the league. But in today's digital age, I think there's something that is very important that happens off the court. Of course, I'm speaking of the internet. Most fans are choosing to watch videos like mine or other basketball videos on social media rather than watching full games. The NBA even puts up full game highlights after the ending of every NBA game. There has been a consistent decline on full game viewership in the league every single year. And to me, you can't just be great on the court to be the face of the league. you must also command an online presence and maintain a massive viewership on the internet. To put the phrase much watch TV in modern terms, Ant is viral. So far in this year's playoffs, Anthony Edwards has gained over 100 million views across NBA social media platforms, second only to LeBron James. This is a clear sign that Ant is becoming a household name in the NBA. Now, I want to add something else to the face of the league list, and that would be the shoes. Back in the 90s, Michael Jordan really popularized signature shoes for basketball players. To this day, you see people wearing Jordan shoes to hoop in, to walk in, and even at their weddings. But over the past 5 to 10 years, there's been a serious drought on signature shoes, with less people wearing them. Players have shifted to more performance-based shoes instead of fashion and lifestyle. There are very few players whose shoes are worn out in the streets. But at the end of last year, Adidas released the AE1s, Ant's first ever signature shoe, and people loved them. Ant is the future face of the NBA, but I don't believe he will be alone. With the NBA being more global than it's ever been, I think for the first time ever, we're going to have an American and an international face of the league. This year, only 3 players got over 1 billion views on social media: LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Victor Wembanyama. I believe that the NBA is headed into a new age where Ant and Wemby will share honors of face of the league and push basketball to new heights. And like I said, I don't like having to do the Michael Jordan and Ant comparisons. And Ant doesn't even like them himself, but that doesn't mean it's not true. Whether he likes it or not, Anthony Edwards is the closest thing we've seen to Michael Jordan since Kobe Bryant. So I'm gonna ask you this one more time. What would the next Michael Jordan look like? Simple. Anthony Edwards.